Hey you guys, I wanted to show you guys a little book that I'm reading. Some of you guys may have heard of it, some of you guys may have not. It's called the Kyballion, and I've been reading this book for a few weeks now. This is where I'm at, the principle of rhythm, and this book really speaks to me because I don't really want to give you I just want to not dumb it down, but I guess bring it down to a term that I would even understand. And this is what this book kind of does. It kind of not dumbs down, but kind of explain the energies. It's mixed with a lot of science, and you have to be really in tune with your spiritual side to kind of get the different. Because the other day it hit me how sometimes this book will bring you down and explain the scientific chemical process, and you put this together, you put heat and cold together and mix, it's still the same but it's different polarities, something like that. But then it will show you how there's a difference between the spiritual, the deeper end of it, the fifth dimension is what I would like to explain it as. They speak down scientifical terms, which I feel it's the 3D, because it's the terms that they use, it's so hard to explain. But when you're in tune, not in tune, let me not say that. Let me not say it's so hard to explain, because you can explain it. And you just have to keep going, because the intuition is not something that you guys, I'm not saying it's something that you guys can't tap into. Oh, I got a special gift and you guys don't. But sometimes for me to really get it, it's something I really have to tap into to kind of really understand. And I'm speaking from a different sense. So yeah. So what I was saying is it's when they're talking about certain scientific, it's so hard to explain. It's not hard to explain, but let me just show you certain scientific terms that they use. You would just know that they're speaking from a place that is from here. But sometimes when they speak in the book, you can tell they're speaking from a higher sense, our higher self, especially when they're giving you the law, and they give you the law, the all is all. When you hear something like that, it's not really speaking from a place that's here, or a place that is something where that we're familiar. It's speaking from a higher sense, our higher self, who really wants to be the all is law, but if that what it is what it is, and that's what it is. So it just is facts. So sometimes we don't really want to I feel that's our higher self. Sometimes we really don't want to really tap into that energy. The all is all, fuck that, but if that really is what it is, we have to come to to kind of respect that. And this book kind of explains the different energies and the different laws, and just kind of how you see things. And it will kind of it's dumbing things down. I feel this book dumbed things down. It's the elementary school. My astrology teacher used to explain to me, she's when we're teaching astrology, we have to go back to school. And it's kind of elementary school. Our elements, fire, air, water, it's elementary school. And there was a chapter I was reading in this book. I was they're talking about some of the things we learned in school, in science class, that we would just forget. I forgot. Maybe not you guys, but I forgot. The crust and how the world is built. There's a core and there's a crust, and this is some of the things that the condensation and some of the processes that you remember it, but you probably need to really get a little bit touch up. Or some of us, some of the things that they talk about, I completely forgot. I can say okay, I remember they probably did explain something like that when I was in school, but to say I remember that, No. So I feel like you kind of do have to go back. And all I was thinking about reading this, I was like, yeah, if I had a kid right now, it would be perfect, because you kind of relearn as they're learning. You're relearning with them. You're like, okay, oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I remember fractions. I remember decimals, you know. You kind of are relearning. So I feel like if I had a kid right now, I'll already be, you know, kind of be learning science, learning these things. And yeah, that was just interesting. And how she said, like, it's kind of like elementary school, and I was reading a chapter and, you know, hitting that word and what the process they were talking about. And it's something I learned in science. I was like, wow, this is kind of like being brought back to elementary school. Some of the things that they explain is kind of like so simple when they explain it. But the way we look at it is just like, it's such like a higher perspective. Like even reading this book, I thought this book was the most sacred book. This book I thought was like the most sacred book. The Emerald Tablets. I thought the things that like the people on YouTube videos who would explain about these things, like the Kyballion, about the Emerald Tablets and things like alchemy, I thought they were all speaking from a place that was so untouched, that was ancient, that was, you know, like they were from gold. Like that's really what I thought. But I'm reading this book, I'm like, wow, they just, you know, this thing is really just simple energies, simple things like hot, water, cold, the polarity of hot. Like if you look at a Fahrenheit, you look at your Fahrenheit, you'll see hot is all the way on the top and you see cold at the bottom. They're on the same scale, but there's just different degrees of how hot is, how cold. But who's to say 1 degree is as cold as 0 degrees? Who's to say 99 degrees? How do you tell the difference between 99 degrees and 100 degrees? Okay, same thing with love and hate. You can love and hate someone, but what's your extent to how far you love them? What's your extent to how far you can hate somebody? Because then it trickles down to dislike to like, you know? It's like so many different degrees. So that teaches that, like polarity. Because 1 minute you can be mad, the next minute you're happy. Because that's like the waves and the flow of the cycle, how things go. Oh, this book is so deep. And then when you read it, like when you read, it kind of like when you're reading, you kind of are saying those words, you're repeating your words. And if you're reading or something that is really, you know, that is high vibrational. What is high vibrational? Something that lifts you up, something that is making you feel better, something that is encouraging you to, you know, either if it's spiritual growth, if it's self-growth, financial growth, you know, emotional growth, mental growth, whatever it is. And you're actually repeating those words. It's like kind of like spells, like magic. When you repeat things or affirmations, it becomes a part of you. So just simply opening this book, reading the great 5th Hermetic principle. Basically, when you read certain things that are in here, you kind of get a sense that like certain like as you read, things that are like high vibrational, things that are like lifting your spirit, making you feel better, or, you know, it's helping your spirit elevate in some type of way or grow, you know, some type of growth. As you read this, these words slowly become a part of you. So I feel like sometimes when I read it, it's like, even though it's not you who wrote this, but it's like you're repeating it. So like slowly but surely, it's like this is coming into your mind, and it teaches you that all is mental. All is mental. So if you're reading something and it's going through your mental because you're processing it, it's good to have something in the spirit that you're processing that is actually good, you know, that's going to do some good for you. And this, I feel like it's good because it kind of like gives you like the basic steps on how to really look at this plane, and it talks about the plane too, this world, this matrix, this life, this whatever you call this earth, or, you know, kind of gives you a different like perspective on how to look at it. I love it because of that. Oh my God, let me explain it even more. Since I've been reading this book, it gives me like, even if you just read it, just be open. It gives you it shifted my perspective. Like I looked at things this one way. I slowly but surely nurtured myself to look at it the way that they were explaining it. And it just made me just like flow into like a different perspective on how to really just look at things in a different way. It's like you always been looking at, like you even say, it's like you always know this to be called a lighter, but who's to say this is the lighter? You know, who's to say this is a book? You know, and it kind of explains that too. Like, just because we've been taught these things, but who's to say that is that? And that's like with many of the things that we've been taught. And who's to say what they're teaching is right? But hey, give yourself, you know, be open to whatever, you know, things, like I said, that are spiritually growing yourself. If this thing, you know, you find like, oh, this lady's crazy, she's just talking, you know, people online, you know, all recommend things that they think is good. But, you know, yes, but everything comes with time and your state and your journey and where you are. Because me reading this, I started my journey about 2-3 years ago now. Me reading this beginning of my journey, I'll be totally lost to now, because now I feel like I took an astrology class. I had the Hermetic teacher that actually was explaining to me. I took a High Priestess class too, that actually was explaining to me some of these principles and some of these things. So now I had that guide, and now I feel like now I can go back into this book and really, I can really go back into this book and I can really go back into this book on like the knowledge that I know. And now I kind of had, like, to be honest, it's the confidence, because she went through this experience. She already knows. She kind of broke it down. And now I can go into it reading it myself. Like before, the way I only knew this book was through YouTubers. They would explain, read the Kyballion, and the way I would look at it, like I said, like the alchemy book, like the emerald tablets, I would look at these books like they were so high. The information they were explaining was so untouchable. But as I, you know, now that I took her class and I'm really, you know, looking at transits, I'm really looking at my natal chart, I'm really, you know, meditating, doing the self-work, I can really look at this book in a different light. And this goes to just speak to my position that is, right now we all have Pluto in Capricorn. But Pluto, in about a week or so, it's going to be transiting to Aquarius. And I have Aquarius in the 3rd house. And I feel like third house has a lot to do with Gemini. Gemini is the 3rd sign, correlates with the 3rd house. So the 3rd house has a lot to do with Gemini energy. Gemini energy is a lot to do with books, but Gemini is the student. Gemini likes to learn. So I feel like with Pluto shifting to my Aquarius, which is in my 3rd house, you got to look at where your Aquarius is in your chart. I feel like that energy is just in spirit, has been highlighting to me these past recent days. Like, okay, now I feel like I had help even with like my spirituality and growth was through, you know, the people that you know, through YouTubers, through Instagram. That's how my journey started, because it wasn't through people that I know. It wasn't through people at church, people in school. It wasn't people in my neighborhood that I knew. It was through online. It was through YouTube. It was through searching and discovering things that people, you know, the universe was just shifting me towards that direction. So, yeah, it's just interesting. Life is just really interesting. So now I just feel like I'm able to kind of learn things on my own versus just always Googling and, oh, I read, you know, hinting things from books and things. Now I can really read these things myself because I kind of know what to kind of go into. And I say this to say everybody's journey is different. Maybe you're not ready to read this right now, and that's okay. It takes time. You're at different parts of your journey, but I would say this is definitely one that should be in the books. You know, we were living life, you know, but this is one, if you like books, you should, just because of just some of the basic life principles and energies and how we think, how we move, and just giving us a different way scientifically and spiritually. So yeah, it gives you all of that good stuff. So yeah, get this Kyballion, y'all. Get this Kyballion. So I feel like doing a reading, but I also wanted to talk about the energy of the full moon. The energy of the full moon. I kind of wanted to guess, like last month, I tried to you know, test my little skills to see if I can kind of predict like what the energy is like to the degree. And I thought 3 that I thought was Sagittarius, Virgo, and there was another one. Sagittarius, Virgo, and there was another one. But the reason why I thought Sagittarius was there was a lot of this like big energy. I feel like it was like a fiery energy, but it wasn't too much like Aries, like too impulsive, but it was more like a little bit like abundance like of energy because everybody was giving out food and things like that. But I'll get into it. And then Virgo, because there was just like a lot of cleaning, organizing, things that were just going on in my day. Maybe it was more personal per se, but I felt like those around me were going through that. And then there was one more sign. But then I looked and it was the 26th degree. The 26th degree is Taurus. And it was just funny because after that, I just kept on getting hints about food. You know, Easter is here. People, you know, my friend have their family cooking for them. My mom called me saying she has a plate for me. It was just, you know, the overwhelm of food. And then I did something I don't usually do, which went to the store, the grocery store. I went into the vegan aisle and I just went ham on the snacks there. So that was a little, you know, hint of food. And then I started thinking about my values and my relationships, and am I really inflicting, real talk, am I really came down on me hard too. Like, am I really practicing my values? Are my values being heard in my relationships? Am I really practicing them? Are they not being heard because am I not practicing them? So a lot of thoughts on that. I'm like, where's the Libra energy? Because it just feel like it's straight Taurus after that, after I put that in my head, after I looked at the degree. And then, but it makes sense because Taurus and Libra are both ruled by the same. It's a Libra full moon, but the degree kind of gives you a little hint of what the full moon is going to be like. So you know it's going to be kind of like Libra-like. So the full moon's going to have a lot to do with relationships, maybe getting into businesses and partnerships and things like that. But it also is going to have a little bit of a Taurus, you know, effect to it, which has a lot to do with food, our values, money, and things like that, and luxuries and things like that. So that was interesting. And then I did go to the spa. I got my nails done. I did a foot spa. So that was different too. So it was a lot of different Taurus-like vibe, you know, type of things that were going on. So it's very interesting to see, like, yeah, I'd be like, oh my God. And once I looked at the degree, all these little hints of like food, all these little hints of like Taurus-like things kept popping up. It's crazy. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make it up. But yeah, so the degree, see how this energy is like for you. Maybe we're doing a lot of Venus-like things is what I'm seeing. Venus, and then we have Venus is in the same house as Jupiter and Neptune because they're all in Pisces. So we have 3 planets all in Pisces, and the moon was in Libra, and the ruler of Libra is Venus. So the energy will have a lot to do with like maybe Venus-like things, which is our luxuries, things we enjoy. Maybe we're doing a lot of indulging at this time, indulging in our sweets. Maybe, like I said, relationships and contract, business partnerships. Maybe business partnerships with our partners, maybe making money, things like that in our nature. And I'll just say these things, I'm like, wow, these things are definitely all highlighting how my week and how has played out. So it's just interesting. Spirit really be real, y'all. And that's all I can say about this. Spirit really be real. I should do a nice little ditty reading just because, right? Let's just see like what the energy is like for today. I know my energy was crazy. I didn't get out to do none of my morning routine stuff, so I know it's not as, you know, as nice as it usually is. But that's okay. Not every day is it all that. I know y'all seen me switch up the shuffle I was gonna do. I'm still trying to work out with these nails. It's hard to shuffle with these nails on, and I'm not used to having my nails this long, but I wanted to try something different. And then I have Taurus. We all have Taurus and Uranus right now, And then Taurus, like I said, your moon. So it's funny, something different. Uranus is different, things that are different. And then Uranus is in Taurus. So, and nails, I think would have to, Taurus would be the ruler of things like luxury or pampering ourselves and things like that. So interesting, something different. And nails, Uranus and Taurus. See how I did that? So yeah, astrology, yeah, to hermetic practices. Ooh, I can see how this was the energy. A queen. I wish it was more like mastered in a way at times, but yes, definitely a water-like day of just emotions, of just, you know, she looked like she's really mastering her emotions, really in control of her emotions. But it was a little bit opposite, but maybe this is definitely resonating with one of you guys, definitely. Yeah, like very calculating, very harnessed of her emotions, but it is the queen, so she can be very intuitive, can be really pouring out, maybe really giving of those emotions. Then you have the arc of matter over here, so very intuitive, very receptive, and then you have a lot of water, so spiritual. Maybe, you know, you're very, maybe getting into some spiritual practices. It is the full moon. Maybe you were, you know, who else? What else can the energy? What else can I say about the Queen of Cups? Yeah, it's just like the master, very intuitive, very like a feminine type of energy, type of vibe. I'm gonna pull out one more card so we can get like a little harness what the energy is like a little bit better. So what's this full moon energy like? That is the card of the day, but it is the full moon. So, you know, what is the energy like for today? Ooh, the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh, do we have options? Ooh, who is this for? So we have the Queen of Cups, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune, having to spin the wheel of having choices. And all I hear, I see energy of love. It's funny because I did have like a lot of thoughts of Leo, Uranus, and Scorpio. That's interesting. Pluto. Wow, that's interesting. His Leo, like the big energy. My partner and I were working together, and then like I see like a lot of like the Leo kid-like energy in him. Like a lot of times be like, yo, you know, why are you this happy? Like, why are you this, you know, he has like this passionate vibe about him. So I see that. And then your Uranus, I don't want to go in about me, but I definitely see all this because these symbols all represent the 4 fixed signs, which is the bull, Taurus, I guess that is the eagle, which is Aquarius. This would be Scorpio, and this would be, it's Scorpio, Leo, Uranus, Taurus. That was Taurus. That was Uranus. That's Scorpio. And that is, what is Leo? Oh, the lion. That's supposed to be a lion, but I don't look like no lion with no wings. But it's a very airy type card, very airy type vibes. A lot of like thoughts, contemplations on what direction, what direction maybe you're going to take, maybe direction of motions of what you're going to take, or a lot of maybe like a lot of fixed energies of you maybe trying to harness your emotions, or trying to fixed energy of you know, just basically kind of like being yourself and not giving a fuck. You know, not really being yourself, but like shit has to come out, you know, like explaining, like being yourself is like what I say, like explaining your emotions, like not giving a damn. Like if I have to express myself, I have to show you how I feel and say how I feel. That's how I'm gonna do it. And many different directions is that gonna take you. What else am I seeing here? Very like studied energy. the pharaoh, ancient, very ancient, old type of vibes. There's something more I wanted to hint with the fixed signs. Taurus is one of them. Taurus having a lot to do with mama mind, and then Taurus and Uranus in the same house. And then we have a Leo. I mean, no, scratch that. But energies and directions. I'm just trying to see what else I can grab from it. But this is what I'm getting so far. Yeah. I hope it was resonating with one of us, one or two of us, or three, maybe more. Yeah, so hopefully I wasn't chatting too much. I want us to go enjoy the rest of our Sundays, the rest of this full moon energy in Libra. Full moon is a good time to release, cleanse, and recharge, restore, get yourself ready back for the new month, the new energy, for the new moon that's upcoming. But it's time to really cleanse out anything we need to remove and, you know, banish away. This is the time because the energy supports that. So yes, get into your showers, maybe write a little petition of what you're trying to remove and trying to banish away and burn it up. Light a candle. Maybe just chill, drink some tea. Libra's about balancing. So balance out the vibes, balance out the energy in any way you think you need to. If you work too hard, work a lot less. You're a lazy ass motherfucker, get your ass up. You know, balance out the energies in the relationships. And yeah, and just remember, love rules all. I have to remember that too, because woo, this life can be crazy. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.